Our next guest has inspired over 50 million people with one of the most viewed TED Talks ever. Now she's a host of 2 incredible podcasts from Houston, Texas. Please welcome Brene Brown. Hi. Brene, I'm so happy to meet you, and I can't believe it's taken this long. We were supposed to meet last year at a summit, but then COVID happened. But thank you so much for being on. I'm just a big fan.
Well, thank you, and I am a big fan, so I'm excited. It feels like, I don't know, I feel like I've been waiting to meet you for a long time, so I'm happy to be here.
Same here, same here. I don't know why it's taken so long, but anyway, here you are. And describe for the maybe 10 people in the world who don't know you and what you do. Tell everybody what you do for people.
I'm a researcher. I'm a research professor. I work at the University of Houston. I work at the University of Texas at Austin, and I study courage, vulnerability, shame, and empathy. I study the emotions that kind of bring meaning to our lives.
Yep, all very important emotions that we all have. So you've been also very, which is I think why people respond to you and like you so much, is you've been very honest about your personal struggles as well as your sobriety. And so, you know, I'm going to ask this question, but I know the answer, but how do these struggles lead to who you are today?
You know, I mean, I don't think it's a reach. It's a little bit of like research or heal thyself, right? I researched the things I needed to understand to live a wholehearted life.
And we are grateful to you for it because we all benefit from that. So you're an advocate for vulnerability. So am I. I think that's, you know, people say you're supposed to get a thick skin when you're in this business, and I disagree. I believe vulnerability and being sensitive is very important as human beings, but talk about the power that comes with being vulnerable.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start by saying, you know, I feel like you were vulnerable with the world before the world understood the power of vulnerability. So I'll start there. Yeah, I'll just start there and say that. And that's not a small thing, because I think the thing that's really hard, Ellen, is that most of us are raised to believe that we need to be brave, and we're told we need to be courageous with our lives. At the very same time, we're taught to believe that vulnerability is weakness. And then all of a sudden you get to a place in your life, and for most of it's about midlife, you know, it's somewhere from late 30s, where all of a sudden you realize, this is not working. I cannot be courageous with my life if I'm not being vulnerable. I mean, vulnerability has a really easy definition from the data. It's uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. Being vulnerable is about showing up and putting yourself out there when you can't control the outcome. And so for most of us, we've spent a lot of our time armoring up and self-protecting. And at some point we have to ask, does the armor still serve me, or am I being crushed by it?
Yeah, and most people are too scared to take that, you know, everything that you just said is you know, taking a risk. And most people want to play it safe. Most people care about fitting in and other people liking them. And it's really hard for most people to ever go outside of that lane and say, no, this doesn't work for me. And why is that so hard?
I mean, it's hard for me. I mean, oh my God, I was like, Jesus, by the time I'm in my 50s, I've got to be over this. But it's still hard, because we are neurobiologically hardwired to be in connection with other people. In the absence of belonging and love, there is always pain and suffering. And so sometimes, I'll speak for myself, but this is true in the data, we lose sight of what belonging really means. And we steamroll over the people in our lives who love us for who we are to try to get the acceptance and approval of people we don't even know. It's like, I'll be getting dressed to go like to the mall, and I'll say, hey, Steve, how do I look? I mean, I've been with this guy for 30 years. And he'll be like, you look beautiful, babe. I'm like, shut up. You don't know. I'm worried about what the strangers are going to think, man. And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Read your Read your books.
That's so funny, yeah, that you still struggle with that, and yet you're the expert and you know all this information. And you use the word in one of your best-selling books, I don't know which one, braving is an acronym. Acronym. Tell everybody what that stands for.
Well, it's about building trust, and I do a lot of work in leadership, and so, but this is trust for all of us. So we use the acronym for braving. What does it mean? Like, if I call you into my office, Ellen, and I say, hey, we've got a trust issue, Ellen, and you say, well, what do I mean? I'm like, just a trust, and all of a sudden, people use the word trust, and if you tell me you've got a trust issue with me, I go straight Charlie Brown's mom. I go to like, wah, 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 wah. I don't know what you're saying, but this is terrible. But we can operationalize trust. What does trust mean? 7 elements: boundaries, reliability, accountability. The vault, meaning do you keep things confidential? Integrity. Do you profess your values or do you live into them? N for non-judgment. Do you refrain from judging yourself? That's the hard one for me, and other people when they need help. And then the last one is generosity. When something happens that pisses you off, do you assume the most generous thing you can about other people until you learn more, or do you just assume right away that people are trying to tick you off on purpose? I normally assume people are trying to tick me off on purpose, but I'm working on it.
Yep. Never make assumptions. That's a good one. The 4 agreements. That's one that I like to live by. All right, Brene, we have to take a break, but we're going to talk about your podcast after this. We're back with Brene Brown, and it's so interesting to hear what you're talking about, how you're still working on things, which goes to show that God, if you're still working on things, we're all, then everybody's working on things, because you are one of the most influential women in the world. You know that. And you're still working on yourself.
On myself. And you'll like this, I'm working on my pickleball game.
Oh, yeah. I will play you whenever you're in. Yeah.
Oh, no. I will play you.
I will play you.
I will play you, and we can play doubles, and you can bring Portia, and I'll bring Serena Williams.
Oh no, that's not fair. That's so not fair. Do you play with Serena?
No.
Oh.
No, but I do play 4 or 5 times a week.
All right, well, I'll bring Serena then. Yeah, I was teaching yesterday. I was playing with my nieces. I'm teaching them. All right, but I will play you in pickleball anytime, Brene. Why is it so much easier for us to believe someone's criticism of us versus someone's compliments?
Oh, God, this is so hard. It's because, and this sounds terrible, but it's true. I think most of us move through the world looking for confirmation that we don't belong, looking for confirmation that we're not enough. And then when we hear a criticism, even if it's like one criticism in a stack of 1,000 great things, we're like, I knew it. I'm not taking the armor off. I'm not going to stop self-protecting. I knew it. So one of the things that I try to practice from the research, and it's hard, is stop walking through the world looking for confirmation that you're not enough and that you don't belong, because you will always find it. Our worth is not negotiable. We do not check that with people outside our lives.
Very important. And you have 2 podcasts right now on Spotify. The first is Unlocking Us, and tell everybody what that one is about.
It's just, how do we unlock who we are? What does it mean to be deeply human and imperfect and trying every day?
Yep, but it's so fantastic. And then Dare to Lead. That's the other podcast. Tell everybody about that.
Yeah, we're in our 11th year of a leadership study, really trying to understand, what does brave leadership look like? How do we build courageous cultures in organizations? And this is conversations with great thought leaders and leaders about what they're doing well, where they've screwed it up, what they're learning. Again, just honest conversation, which I think is hard to come by sometimes these days.
Yes, it is. And I wish we could have more honest conversations. That's one of the things. And compassion, and as you said, looking for the good in people and looking for the generosity in people instead of immediately assuming that their intention is to hurt us in some way or to be threatened by them. But I want you to be on every week. I want you to be on every day. So please, just anytime, and we will. Seriously, I just think you're amazing. So Brené's weekly podcasts, Unlocking Us and Dare to Lead, are available for free on Spotify. Thank you so much, and hope to see you again.